All right, today we're going to be doing the Kombi Beach Scene that I've got holding up here. We're probably not going to put all the color on, but we are actually going to draw it all. So now if you do want to watercolor paint yours, I suggest cartridge paper or watercolor paper, all right? Not photocopy paper, because photocopy paper is a little bit too thin, okay? So if you've got some cartridge, that's great. We're going to get started into drawing our Kombi Beach Scene today. A3, that would be great for painting if you've got A3. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom in so we can see the picture, and then I'm going to show you how to start it. So we're going to have a go at drawing this beach scene, and I've got a simplified version of it, a line drawing here that I'll be looking at to help remember how to draw it. Okay, so we're going to start with, on your piece of paper, we're going to start with the horizon line. So this is where the water meets the land, the sky, sorry. So it's going to be probably 1/3 or just above 1/3. So if this is halfway here, we're going to draw it up a little bit higher. So draw a straight line coming across like so, and that's going to be our horizon line, okay? Now, if you want a bit more sky, you can, but if you don't want to, that's okay too. All right, we're going to start with the iconic Glasshouse Mountains in the background, okay? So what we're going to do here is we're going to come up, a little bit of a bump and across, and then bring it curved down there like so. All right, I hope everyone's had a great day so far, and thanks for joining me. It's excellent to hear that people are having a good time drawing along. All right, so the next mountain we're going to do is we're going to bring this curve up, almost straight up, and then we're going to put a little bit of an angle like so, and then come straight down. If you've ever been to the Sunshine Coast, or if you live on the Sunshine Coast, you'll know which mountain that one is. I've forgotten the name. Then we've got another one that comes up and down like so. Now, all along here on the eastern side of Australia, not all the way up, but we have a great dividing range, and we're going to put some other mountains in behind there. Okay, so I'm just going to put another line. This line's going to come in behind those mountains, and it's going to join up. So pretend that was another line going all the way through. If you didn't want to draw the Glasshouse Mountains, you wanted to just do your own mountains, or you just wanted a nice flat water where the water meets the sky, that's your choice. Okay, to draw the sun, it's going to be a half a circle, so a semicircle. Okay, and then we are going to be drawing the rays of the sun. So you could do them a few different ways. You could have them really pointy if you wanted to, but I'm going to make them a little bit bumpy like so, and just sort of bump them out. They get thinner as they go out. That one's going off the page. That one's going to go off the page. It's going to come in behind this mountain, and then that one's going to come out through there. Now, if you wanted to, you could have some little bits off there like that, looking a little bit like fire. So we've got our skyline looking pretty good. Now the Kombi van, this is what we're going to draw next, okay? And it can be a bit tricky, so we're going to take it reasonably slowly. Okay, so to draw the Kombi, I'm going to put it on my piece of paper so you guys can see it and see what I'm talking about. Now, I didn't draw the whole lot. I just drew the front of it coming in to make it quite interesting. And I've got a surfboard over here, and then I've got a couple of dragonflies. You don't have to draw them. All right, let's start with the Kombi. We're going to start with a curve line for here, here, and here. So I'm going to start where you want the top of the roof to come. So you're going to draw it's going to slightly curve down. And then we're going to work out how high you want your Kombi. So let's say it's there. We're going to curve it up like so, and have this line come slightly more across. So if I put a pencil there, straight up and down, this line's slightly more across, okay? It's slightly wider. Then we're gonna try, rather than drawing a straight line up, we are gonna curve this out like so. Curve it out. So we've got 3 curved lines. One coming up, one coming down, and one going back up over like so. Alrighty, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work out where the windows are going to be, okay? And that's going to be, see how that's about halfway there, so we're going to put them above halfway. So put your windows, just draw a line like so. That's going to be the roof through there like that. Then just come down and do another little light guideline. So this is where our windows are going to go. And we're going to draw a line, a center line for this vehicle. So just draw a light line coming down the middle like that, but curve it like that one. So at the moment, these little lines here are guidelines because this is going to control where this is, where the circle is, and where our windows are, okay? Now remember, if I'm going a little bit too fast, you can pause it and then catch it up later on. All right. Now, the windows, let's draw them on. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to leave a space here and I'm going to curve the windows around like so. So not like a rounded square almost. Then I'm going to put this one and leave a space for the middle part there and then bring it across like that. All right, so I'm trying to guide you through this Kombi van. You might have a picture of a VW Kombi in front of you, but you don't have to. All right, now we've got a circle here for the logo. So we're going to put the logo on about so far. And that is 2 circles. Then we have a straight line. And then we have 2 lines coming out like so. There's the VW logo, the Kombi. All right, I'll let you catch up a bit there. Whilst I just rub out a few lines that I don't need anymore. All right, and you can see my logo's a little bit out. I'll fix that up later. All right, now we have to, basically, the Kombi comes down and then it's going to kick out a little bit here. Now this is a curve that comes in and meets about here. So we're going to draw the bumper on. Let's draw the bumper on, give us some space. That's going to wrap around the edge like so. So there's the bumper wrapping around the edge of the vehicle. And then we're going to draw the little other part of the bumper, which is coming down in front and around like so. And it's great to see that I've got a couple of people saying hi. Thanks, Mason. Good to see you back again, mate. And Guitar All Day. Thanks for subscribing and saying g'day. All right, so we've got this little part here, and then this is the little round part of the bumper. So this is a round piece. So we've got 2 curved lines. Keep them the same distance off the bumper and the distance away from each other. And that's going to come around like so. There's the little round bumper that comes around like that. And then we've got this one here that comes in front that ties them together. Lines coming straight down and around. And then I'm just going to rub out some other parts. Now remember to say hi in the chat and let me know where you're from. Yesterday I had some people that I didn't know were on, that I was going to say g'day to. I had my little nephew on yesterday, which would have been awesome to say g'day. All right, so now what we're doing is we're bringing this curved line around like so. And then here, we're going to bring it back, and this curves up and around that way. So pretend that comes off. So there's the front of our Kombi. Now this can be quite tricky because we've got lots of curves here. Now we want to put the lights on. Now this is by no means a total realistic drawing that I'm doing here. This is sort of like a cool little cartoon sort of beach scene with a nice cool Kombi. A couple of lights there, so oval shape with the side bit to make it look 3D, and we're just going to replicate that over this side. That means to copy it, but that's off the page, so we're just going to do half of that. Now what you can do is put the wiper blades on. So from the middle here, we're just going to go up on an angle, 2 lines on an angle. Do the same over this side, and then just do a little kink back for the wiper blades. Now for those Kombi lovers out there, I'm sure I've changed a few little things, but simplifying it down. I'm just putting another line here for the rim of the windows, the framing. I wonder what a decent Kombi was worth these days, because I know there's a resurgence in the older vehicles, and a lot of them cost a lot of money these days. All right, so that's looking pretty good. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see my picture a little bit. Just make sure it fills up the whole screen. Remember to give us a like if you've been enjoying these videos. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to draw the surfboard that is next to it. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I think it looks pretty cool. So I'm just going to have a bit of sand here, and then we're going to draw a straight line, pretty straight line coming up. That's like the middle of the board. A couple of little lines like so, and then you can put your board so it looks like it's sitting in the sand, leaning up against the Kombi as well. Now, with you guys and your drawing, you've got so much reference material that you can look at. There's pictures on the internet. You got access to pretty much information all the time. When I was a boy, it was either books or magazines. There was no such thing as the internet, so we had to make up a lot of the things ourselves when we were drawing. But now it's good to have reference to look at things, and that can help you draw your pictures. So you can see now I've got, this is the white water from a wave, you know, where the wave comes up onto the sand, a little bit of white water. Now you could just do some little bumps. So depending on how you want your white water to look, I've just done little sort of bumpy bits like so, just to make it look like it's some foam, you know, the foam that comes up on the beach. Oh, it would have been nice down. I bet there was lots of people down the beach yesterday. It was pretty hot. My sons had futsal, so it was pretty warm watching them. Okay, so you can bump that along, almost a little bit like a jigsaw puzzle piece. All right, this is the fun part, the wave. Okay, how are we going for time so far? Yeah, we've done 15 minutes, which is great. So the wave, depending on how big you want this wave to be, is how steep you draw the first curve. So if we want it to be a big wave, we draw more of a curve like so. So it's standing up more. If we want it to be a bit more of a gentler sort of barrel like that one, we have the curve. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to start by drawing where I want the top of the wave. So I'm going to draw a line out like this, a curved line coming out. Okay, and I use my whole arm from my elbow to do that line because that's like a windscreen wiper line that I wanted. Now, this is the curve that I'm talking about, how high you want your wave to be. So I'm going to make mine a fairly tight first curve like so and bring it out. Then what I'm going to do is I'm sort of following this line and bringing them out and widening them as they come down like so. And again, I'm using my whole arm to draw that. And then flick it out like so. Now, if we want that to be a bit shorter, we could rub that out. But I kind of like how it's like a surging wave coming through. Now, you could put a surfer on there if you wanted to. You could put a dolphin jumping out like I have. You could leave it just as a wave. It's your call. All right. But I'm going to show you some options for the top of here because this is like the white, the white bit on the top of the wave. You could do it as a nice sort of straight curve like that, but I'm just going to draw that line and then I'm going to show you how I make it look a bit more cool. So I'm just going to start pretending this is like foam, almost like fire coming off that line. And this is like the whitewash on top of the wave. And it sort of curls around. And remember, like I said, every time I draw something, even though it's the same picture, it's slightly different. And I'm just bumping that along, using that as a reference. And then you might have a few bits of foam that's flicking up and off this wave. Like so. And there we have the wave. Now, I'm not sure whether people thought this was going to be a pretty difficult picture to draw or not, but as you can see, once you get stepped through something, it's not too bad. It looked pretty complex before, but I'm trying to break it down as simply as I can. If you want this dolphin on there, I'm just going to change my pencil over. Do I have a normal one somewhere? No, I'll use this other one. Dolphin. I have got a video on how to draw a dolphin really quickly as a short, but it's basically one line, curved line coming out like so. And then you can draw the nose of the dolphin like that. And then you can flick it up and back on itself like so. And then you put the fin on, a flipper on. And then if you wanted the one on the other side, you could put one underneath there. Rub this out. Now my dolphin's happy because it's catching some pretty cool waves. I'll put a little smile on and a little eye in there like so. Now it's crashing out of the wave, so what we can do is this. We're going to cruise out here like this. Put a big splash in there, like so. And then have a little bit of a flick out. Look at that. That's like a big splash coming out. Well, I've got a request for Ari to come in. Unfortunately, he won't be able to join us today. He doesn't join our live videos. He helps me with the videos that we pre-record. Okay, now what we're going to do is, if you want to, we can put this crab down the bottom here. Now, if you join me for how to draw a sea under the sea, you'll remember that we start with an oval shape. And this crab is really surprised at how big that wave is coming in. So he's got a little bit of a surprise face on there. And so I just got to get a circle. There we are, big circle. And he's got his tongue hang. There's his tongue. I'll give him a tongue. And I'm going to make him look like he's really surprised. So his eyes are coming back on a lean. And his eyeballs are going to be up the top, looking at the wave. Little C's for little round bits like that, but not all the way completed. And he might even be throwing his claws back this way. I've drawn them slightly different to the C1 that I did the other day. But you can see that I'm trying to make it look like he's backing away from this wave that's coming through. Okay, he's got his little legs. At the moment I've got most of the scene drawn. I'm going to zoom in shortly for the other bit. So I'm going to draw the palm tree very soon. All right, so we are going to draw this palm tree. So what I'm going to do here is zoom in on where the palm tree is going to go. And let's draw the trunk of the palm tree. The palm tree is behind the Kombi, okay? So I'm going to draw the structure of the branch, and then I'm going to put some lines out like so. These are where the branches are going to come out from. All right, so now I've got to rub out at some of this background because some of the leaves are going to go in the front of that. Let's start with the trunk. I'm just going to put some lines like that, little trunk sections for the palm tree. And then I'm going to draw a zigzag line coming down to that. This is like the middle, you know, with most of the leaves on plants, they have that vein that runs through the middle. And then I'm just going to bring it back like so. And this is a simplified version of a palm tree. Rather than flicking out every single leaf that comes off, I'm just simplifying it down. There we are, and do the same from the other side. There's that one. Now this is the middle. I'm just going to do a couple of little bits coming out that way. And then over here as well. That's the middle, so there's the other leaf of the tree, and you can see I've got the palm coming through like so. Now, does anyone have some watercolor pencils at home? Who's got some watercolor pencils? Anyone want to let me know in the chat, because I'm going to show you how to use watercolor pencils for, all right. Now, I'm not sure if there's any schools that have joined us today, but in this video, I'm just going to demonstrate how to use watercolor pencils, what they are, and also some paint. So I'm not going to color in the whole lot because that would take me too long. And I've got another video, an actual video that I'm going to put out where I've drawn this and I've colored it in really neatly. So that'll be coming soon. I'm just going to show you a few tips when you are watercolor painting. So let's get my area set up. I'm going to move that over there. I've got my brand new Montmartre watercolor paints here. It even comes with a brush and pretty cheap set. I think I sell these for $8.50, so it's pretty good. Now I've got a little container of water, okay, which I'm going to put off the screen, or maybe I might be able to sneak it there. All right, I'm going to show you the difference between the watercolor paints and the watercolor pencils and give you a few tips. So if I was to paint this picture, and I'm going to do some of it, I use brushes that are really nice and soft, okay? These are really nice soft brushes. I've got a flat and I've got two rounds, they call them, and they go into a point. Where do we hold it? Where the metal meets the wood, like so. That gives us good control. Up here, and the brush is all wobbly, really wobbly. Look how wobbly that is. It's like can't even control it. Down here, we've got maximum control. All right, so dip our brush into water, dip it onto the paint color. I'm going to paint the sky, mix it up until it becomes paint, and then we can paint it on. Okay, so you guys should be able to see that, and we try and keep to the edges as best we can. More water means that it's going to be lighter, but it also going to be, if it's too much water, it's going to run everywhere. So what we do is we dip, we wipe, then we go into our paint, wipe it off, and then we can paint neatly the areas that we want to paint. Now, here is a trick and a tip for all. If you do not want the colors to mix together, for example, if I was to now paint this mountain, that could bleed into the wet blue paint. I would paint all my sky, and then I would paint somewhere else on my picture, because I don't want them to go into each other. All right. So once that's dry though, then I can come back and paint the mountains and any other bit that I wanted to. So that's painting. Remember to change your water frequently. I'm just going to do a little bit more of the sky. Okay. So painting in here. If you do happen to put too much water on, what you can do is you can get a tissue and dab it off. Okay, so I can dab some of that off, but don't dab again blue, because that blue will go, especially if it's yellow. You've got to fold your tissue up, dab somewhere else with a clean part of the tissue. Okay, so we're painting carefully. If you've got watercolor paints, that's great. If you don't, you could color this in with texture. Now you might have noticed that I haven't outlined it. That's because I wanted to show you how to paint more than outlining. You've already, if you've watched some of my videos, you would know that I would outline this in a permanent marker, and then I could paint and it's not going to smudge. Now let me show you these watercolor pencils. Okay, these ones are Dolphin, and they're a pretty good brand. Now, if you're not sure on how to know whether your pencils are watercolors, what can happen is sometimes they can say on the pencil watercolor. This one has a picture of a paintbrush on it. I'm not sure if you guys can see that okay, but there's a picture of a paintbrush on that one. That means if I add water to it, it's going to turn into paint. So I'm going to use this one, and I better use sea blue and see if that looks good. We can use watercolor pencils. So I've got a nice teal green here that I'm going to do, and I only have to press lightly with these pencils, nice and lightly. Coloring doesn't have to be super hard. In fact, it's better if you don't color in super hard. And then I've got some blue here, and I can actually overlap them together. So that's coloring in my picture. Watercolor pencils are great for the smaller areas. Now we would not do this next to where it's wet, because we could rip our paper. So what we usually do is we paint some bits on, then we color in with this, and then we put some water over it. I would color in the whole lot first. Okay, now watch what happens when I put water over this. It turns it into paint. Look at that. How beautiful that is. I'll zoom in a little bit to give you a closer look. Now these are called Derwent ink tints. They're very, very bright. and awesome to use. And look at how nice that blue is. Oh, that's like my favorite blue at the moment. So good. I would call that phthalo blue, which is that's the paint color that we've got. It's sea blue. So you can see that I can even paint with it. I can move that around and paint extra sections that I need to. When you're painting water, always paint horizontally, okay? Especially this part. This part we could do on the curve to follow the wave, okay? But here we are doing it horizontally, okay? So I'm just gonna go over this little bit here and we can paint that and make it look pretty good. So those are pretty cool pencils, the Derwent Inktense. Now sometimes they won't have the picture of the brush, but they will have a picture on them. For example, they will say it. So this brand here says Watercolor Pencils, okay? Now we're just going to move out here and we are going to, I'm just going to show you the Dolphin with the Brunzil watercolor pencils that I own as well. So I'm going to do a grey Dolphin. Now I'm going to show you something else as well. If you go over the one spot too hard with your brush, you might end up with little bumps. Little pieces of the paper can rip off if you press too hard and you paint over the same area too much. Another problem that you might have if you use watercolors is you can rip a hole in your page and you do not want to do that. So notice how I've got a smaller brush this time because it's a smaller area. Dip into your paint, into your water, wipe it, hold it so you've got maximum control, and then you can turn that into paint. That looks pretty good. The other good thing about watercolors is you can actually reopen them up. So that means once it's dry, I can actually add more water to that to keep painting. The other thing I can do is color in over the top and add more layers. Okay, you can see there that I've got my Dolphin. So for example, with this one, I could add water to some of this and re-go over that. I could even draw over the top. All right, and I could keep going on that. Alrighty, it's looking pretty good so far. I'm going to show you a little bit of the Kombi and then I think we will be done for today. Nice, short, sharp, shiny one. And look out for the coloured version, the full coloured version of this coming soon next week. Also, this afternoon, people, for those people that have subscribed, and thank you very much, I have a poll coming out at 3 o'clock, a community post, and I am after some feedback about what superhero you guys might like to see me draw. And I've got 4 options that you guys can choose from, and the one with the highest votes will be the one that I will be drawing. And I'm aiming to get that done early next week so you guys can watch it. Okay, so what I'm doing here is, see how I'm pressing harder down the bottom of the bumper bar? That is so that it looks rounded and it's darker down along the bottom. And remember, if I've gone too fast for you today, I'm sorry. I had my booster vaccine this morning and maybe that's made me go a bit quicker. All right, so let's have a look here. No side effects so far, so I'm happy with that. I can see how it's darker along the bottom because I put more pencil through there. See that? That looks kind of good. I can add shading to make it look 3D. Wipe most of the water off and go over the bits. Dip it in water, wipe it off, go again. Okay, now, if we have two different colors, for example, I'll just do a section. Let's go part of this crab. If I color that in red, and let's say my beach color is brown, he'll have a shadow underneath him like so. I'm just going to put that in for now. I can't just get my brush and go over it, just paint everywhere like that. I've still got to paint each color separately and clean my brush in between. So I can just go like this and paint that out. Okay, but I can't just go straight into there. I've got to dip, wipe my brush, then paint that section through there. But remember, I have a chance, if I'm not careful, and those are two wet pieces touching each other, they could go into each other. So that's one of the tips that I said, try and keep areas separate when they're wet. Are there any questions about watercolors? Because we've come to a spot where I've given you quite a few tips. I'm just wondering whether there's any questions at all about the watercolor painting. So you can see that I've only done patches of this. What I would probably do, this is the finished one. You can watch this video on next week. What I'd probably do is paint all the sky first, then do all the water, then let that dry, do the sand, the Kombi, and do each section and each color at a time, okay? That's how I would plan that out. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you got some tips out of how to draw a Kombi Beach scene, and I hope you also found the introductions to watercolors and watercolor pencils useful for you. And remember to check out my video next week on the full coloring and drawing of that beach scene. Thanks a lot for joining me today. I appreciate it. I appreciate people who have subscribed to my channel and also given me a thumbs up. Thumbs up to you guys for joining me. I will see you another time. Thanks. Bye for now.